welcome back to my channel. This is Becky, and I'm going to go ahead and start off talking about the lilac ray. This is Archangel Tzaphkiel, and the color is lilac. The focus is activating the angelic chakra, accessing angelic guidance. And the chakra is the angelic, also known as the fifth eye chakra. And this is something I think that I'm starting to move into. I'm still purging and clearing out the energy channels, keeping them in alignment, trying to get in my prayers and my meditation so that way this particular archangel can really step forward and help me with channeling these angelic realm messages for you guys more clearly and confidently. It says there are two very important chakras situated above the third eye chakra. One is the fourth eye chakra. Its Sanskrit name is Soma, which means water. It balances the fire of the solar plexus chakra, bringing balance and harmony when it has been activated. For the sun and the moon in harmony meditation, we're going to do that in a separate video. The fifth eye chakra, which is situated at the top of the forehead, is called the Lalada in Sanskrit. In the New Age movement, it is often referred to as the angelic chakra. When awakened and fully activated, it allows you not only to become master of your own destiny, but also to have profound angelic contact on a daily basis. The angelic chakra has a natural resonance with the very pale shade of lilac. It is the violet ray of spiritual transformation, perfectly imbued with the white ray of the spiritual purity. Archangel Tzaphkiel is the angel of deep contemplation of God, representing the divine feminine, watery aspect of creation. Tzaphkiel nurtures all things and gives glimpses of other realities. She bestows blessings that are designed through faith to increase understanding by imparting wisdom that increases spiritual growth. Archangel Tzaphkiel casts out all that is superficial to spiritual development. She increases insight, mysticism, and discernment by helping to fully develop the feminine side of your nature. But she will do this only if you ask to be reborn into a new level of consciousness that allows your heart to open fully and your soul's purity to be made manifest. And you notice she was the only she so far of all the angels. So right now I am just so incredibly blessed that all the other archangels have been able to get me through this spiritual journey so far in order for me to finally get to a point where I can really focus on this divine feminine energy to really move forward in my destiny and in my dharma, rather than fulfilling all these karmic contracts that I had come here to clear out in order to then be able to be a spiritual leader of the new earth for those that are on that spiritual path similar to my own. So, very excited to be able to get to know Archangel Tzaphkiel much better in these upcoming days and years. So along that lines, yesterday when I was, last night when I was doing my meditation, I came up with this message revolving around grace. Okay, so in this message, I'm choosing the topic of grace to talk a little bit about because I'm concerned with some of us in the U.S. church. I'm thinking that many of us Westerners have lost our way and that we stand in the danger of losing our most important contribution to the world. Far from being some abstract theological doctrine, grace affects us in very practical ways. In family feuds, in marital spats, even international crisis. I truly believe that the future of the church depends on how we master the art of dispensing grace. Other groups excel at morality. Jesus taught us one great distinctive, that of grace, which has its own slow but steady power to change the world. So grace affects how we treat everybody, illegal aliens, former enemies, as well as the outspoken pro-choice activists or other groups with whom we might not disagree. I like to think of myself as a diplomat for the Galactic Council and a spokesperson for Jesus, so that way his message can still be spread through me. And to spread Mary's message about Sophia. It concerns me what happens today, because it's the everyday. It's not just going to church on Sundays, right? It's between you and your father, or you and your sister, or you and your mother, or you and a friend, or you and an unjust employer, or a cranky neighbor down the street. At its core, grace is a relationship word. So what comes to mind when you hear me say the word grace? Is it a religious word that you draw a blank on? Is it a word that makes you uncomfortable? Is it a word that gives you hope? Does the word grace tell the story of your life? Is it a yearning that you feel inside? Or is it some other thought that comes to mind when you hear the word grace? How do you define grace? I believe it's a gift from God, and it holds within it a supernatural power. Grace is free of charge. You only have to do one thing to receive a gift. Open your hands. God loves us, not because of who we are, but because of who He is. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate things, including myself, and it's important for us to realize just how important grace is during this time in particular of the human evolution. The more ungodly, unrighteous, undesirable a person is, the more that person has actually felt drawn to Jesus. And the more righteous, together, and desirable a person is, the more that person feels threatened by Jesus. So it's just the opposite of what people think. Somehow, Jesus had mastered the ability of loving people whose behavior He disapproved. That's a lesson that the church has been not so good at learning. And I'm really hoping that that changes. So when I was meditating on this last night, my mother's spirit came and spoke to me and said that she was not happy with me for calling my sister out in the video I posted yesterday. Obviously, I was very overly emotional. So I want to publicly apologize to my sister and to all of you for my emotional meltdown. But my mom wanted me to remember that my sister just lost her mother too, and that their bond in the 3D was much, much closer than mine and hers. So although my mother's death has freed me, it has devastated my sister. And yes, it's upsetting to me, but not in the same way that it's crumbled my sister's foundation, where my foundation is rooted in Jesus and in God and in the universe and the supreme being of light and the ascended masters, and having faith in knowing that things are going to be okay. My sister's foundation was rooted in having my mom by her side and talking with her through everything. And so I have to realize that my sister's coming to grips with the reality that I really am spiritually gifted. I'm not just crazy. My mom used to have a really hard time with accepting that I was spiritually gifted, and caused a lot of problems between me and my sister all these years of denying it, and then my sister believing my mom. And so I know in the end that her and I will be able to come closer together. But for right now, this is a huge shock to her system. And so I apologize for kind of like lashing out that I'm right, that I'm an oracle and I deliver divine messages. But it's really hard when you go your whole life being abused. I mean, that's the only word, neglected and rejected for gifts that God has given you. So I originally had started the Holman's Consulting LLC with the intention of it being a family business. My sister and I never could see eye to eye. We just did not get along. And that led me all these years later to create the 7 steps to getting on the same page blueprint. It just seemed like no matter what I was saying, it was taken wrong. No matter the intent behind it, it was inverted, and it was always them against me. And so it just became very difficult, and I finally just stopped communicating altogether because it was like, we're never going to get on the same page. You're never going to understand me. I'm never going to understand you. So what's the point of talking? So her and I were also always put in the middle of all the family disputes, we'll say. So we both are very level-headed and very articulate when it comes to the matters of the heart and the mind. However, we were raised very differently. So at age 9, my father won custody of us, but my sister couldn't be separated from my mother. Okay, so we ended up going different pathways. She ended up being raised by my mom, and I ended up getting raised by my dad, which was in a multi-generational Pentecostal blue-collar home with indigenous roots from the Cherokee Nation. My sister didn't have that. She was raised with my mother, who went through a series of marriages trying to find love and better herself, and fumbling and falling and failing and being part of the world and being worldly. So my sister had learned how to climb the corporate ladder. She learned how to move around the earth realm, commanding things to her into existence to be able to live her best life. Where I was taught to live more humbly and to live more in servitude and to be thinking of what's best for the entire family, where my sister was taught to think about what's best for her. So very different viewpoints. I would say, that it didn't make either one of us wrong, it just made us very different. And so I had hoped that one day my spiritual gifts and my degrees and my talents and all the wisdom that I've had from raising my kids and my 30-year career and all of this, I thought it would combine nicely with my sister, who has the business sense, who knows money, who knows how to navigate the 3D realm. And I just had always seen us coming together, and then my kids also being part of that, and then it being this family business. And when that didn't happen, I think that's another reason why it really crushed my spirit, that I had to close the doors to this. I mean, yes, I knew that there was always going to be opposition from other businesses and the coaches that, and people that were trying to steal everything from me. I knew that was going to happen, but I really thought that me and my sister would be able to work through our differences. And that's another reason why I came up with the whole 90-day complete family mentor program, right? Like, to help families resolve their problems. And I think that we've figured out how to do that, but the reality is life is a series of problems. So you're always having to come back to the table and revisit, okay, what do we need to work on now? Okay, now this time we have to take it from a different angle. We have to look at it from this perspective. And so it's not that I can help you solve all your problems in 90 days, but I can take whatever problem that you're giving me, to whatever obstacle and challenge at that moment, we can problem solve it together. And then, within 90 days, that issue could get resolved, but you might have 10 others that pop up or that we need to address, right? So it's not that I could wave a magic wand and make your life, just perfect. But no, it was going to be a business where she and I could work together and have it be a family vibe. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. And so the weight of everything being on one person and trying to go against all of these other entities that were against me, it just makes sense that it couldn't sustain the weight. And that's why the good Lord said, just let it go. Right now, I need to be focusing on my spiritual gifts. I need to be learning from the archangels. My ancestors are guiding me. I'm going to bring new people in, different support systems. So instead of it being my biological family that's going to help me with this, it's going to be my soul family. my biological family's still going to be there in my 3D reality. We're still going to love and support each other. But as far as my business, when it revamps and it reopens in a new way, it's going to be with my soul family. And so that has really brought peace to me. And so that's why it's so important that I share all of these messages, because sharing these messages is helping other people that are in similar situations. So I did my day 12 tarot sticker. There was the journaling. This was the layout that I had. And here is what it said. First, how to discover my spiritual gifts. Well, first of all, I have incomplete lessons. I lack some closure, and I have to deal with some procrastination. And it represents that I'm struggling to close this cycle. I really wanted it to be that I would be building with my biological family, and now I know that that's just not possible. I'm able to actually close that cycle. And the issues that I have with this town, these chapters are finally slowly closing out, recycling that energy back into myself, so then that way I can continue to move forward to new places and new adventures and new people, and have a better outlook on this whole experience. 20 years is way too long for me to be in one spot. 2, how to develop my spiritual gifts are to have hope, to focus on my healing, and my spiritual renewal. So thank you for being here through this process. I keep trying to trust the process, and it's like a roller coaster. So this process has kind of had me all loopy, and you've been along for the ride. So thank you for your patience and your understanding and your support. It also says that I'm appearing, this card is appearing after a difficult period. It serves as a guiding light that brings peace, clarity, and deep inspiration. I do think that I was not going to be able to move forward with my mom still on the earthly plane. And so that's why I said earlier that it's a release for me. It gives me freedom to be more of who I am, and to do it in a way where I don't feel ashamed, and I'm not judging myself, and I'm not trying to be this perfectionist. I'm trying to prove myself to everybody, because I was really trying to prove myself to my mom, to gain her approval, to gain her love and acceptance. And I know I had it, but there was just something within her, wounding within her, that kind of prevented us from, again, I think it was spiritual and not personal. So we loved each other, but it was a strained 3D situation. But we genuinely wanted the best for each other, and we genuinely cared about one another. We just needed to do it in different zip codes. All right, number 3 is how to be more open to spiritual guidance. There is this little critter that has been running back and forth right next to me. I mean, so fast that I can't hardly see what kind of critter it is. I don't think it's a chipmunk. I don't know, maybe it's a weasel. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping he slows down a little bit so I can see what animal he actually is. Maybe he's just a chipmunk that's really scared. I'm not sure. Okay, so how can I be more open to spiritual guidance is to trust my inner guidance and maintain faith in the universe's plan. This card represents boundless energy, passion, and the fruit of adventure. The spirit of adventure. My goodness. He just ran over there now. It encourages me to embrace rapid movement and to have faith. Like I said, I felt like God and the angels were having me here in a timeout, and I do think that, like I said, that they had brought in some people here, so then that way I'm like, Indiana is horrible. No, Indiana's not horrible. There are good people here. They're all just trying to survive in their own ways, and what I'm trying to create is something more futuristic, than a lot of the people in Indiana can even wrap their brains around. So letting go with the fact that I am more evolved species than a lot of the people here, and stop being so like uptight about it, like, where are my people? Because I do have people here. They're just preoccupied within their own survival and trying to learn how to thrive in toxic situations. So number 4, what is the next phase of my spiritual journey? Well, this card represents a sudden burst of inspiration and new beginnings, along with pure creative potential. So I do know that there are people that have some projects that they would like my help with, and so I think those opportunities are going to keep coming in, and that will continue to spark my creativity, and hopefully, you know, I'll be able to really take that and turn it into something beautiful for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get a message from the Ascended Masters in the Keepers of the Light Oracle. I think sometimes people have a hard time with me because I treat each day like a brand new day. I lived so many years taking and carrying over the stress, and when you're raising children, that kind of happens. And now I'm changed my perspective on it, and that's why I can keep giving grace to people over and over and over again, because they're no longer in a position to hurt me. When you can get to that place where your emotions are your own, and no matter what they say or do, it doesn't hurt you anymore, that's true peace. And that comes through getting to know who you are on such a deep level. All right, I have Charity. It says prayer and contemplation. Connect with heaven, ask, and you shall receive. And so I said I kept getting so frustrated with, what am I doing wrong that I can't receive because I'm asking? But in reality, I was demanding. And so asking and demanding are two very different things. And I know when I was raising my kids, if they demanded, it made me want to wait longer. So I can understand why the divine was like, no, we're gonna make her sit in her hot seat for a little bit longer. And now that these energies are passing through, my clarity, like I said, the archangels are really working with me in the angelic realm, and I can finally relax my nervous system. That's what's been, even my mind is like, okay, I should be receiving, but my nervous system has to be prepared for that. So we got the Crystal Alchemy Oracle. So let's see which chakra is still needing a little more attention and wants to give us a message. I know one of the things that me and my soul family are going to be doing is creating a space for healing to happen in the 3D as well as in the 5D, and using technology. Obviously the technology is not my end. That'll be someone else's expertise. I'm going to be more 3D based, so when that time comes, I'll let you know where we'll be, and then you'll be able to come and pay for, you know, services to come visit us and see what we've got going on, because then it really will be my circus and my monkeys. Right now I just go and help other people with their circus and their monkeys, and I could be out. I'm like, this ain't my show. That's your show. Good luck. But with my soul family, it will be mine. So then people will laugh at me and say, how's it feel? All right, 29 is Bloodstone. This is the root chakra, which is what I've been working on healing. It says to detoxify, blood health, and purge. Which all those years of not crying and soldiering through is what is leading me to be so dang sensitive all the time, but it's a necessity because all that pain and suffering's been trapped inside my nervous system, and so it's time for me to get all that out. Trying not to do it on the camera, but you know, sometimes it happens. Let's see, work your lights oracle deck. So let's see what we get. What message do we have about working our light? Alright, it says, a pillar of lights. Your vibration is rising and you are the oracle. I believe this was the one yesterday that I got super emotional about. So this is a confirmation. I do believe my mother is saying, yes, I confirm you are an oracle. Yes, you are spiritually gifted, and you scare the shit out of me even now. I know that my grandmother, her mother, had tried to convince my mom to have an abortion when she was pregnant with me, and the fact that I survived every near-death experience I've ever had, I can see why she was scared of me. Okay, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Guidebook. So these are the ones I already have videos made for. And so I'll pull one, and again, it's going to let you know what chakra has a message for you. You can go find that keyword or phrase, and it'll give you a deeper meaning behind it. So let's see what comes out for us today. Perfection. I'm the type of person that when my anxiety would get work, you know, when I'm thinking about the future and I'm anxious about what's going to happen, I become very OCD. I start cleaning, I start organizing, I start color coding. Everything's got to be perfect, which is why it took me so long to find my own voice to be able to do these videos. I mean, I would share other people's content all the time. It says the same messages, but for me to actually speak it, I was like, nope, not ready. Nope, we're not ready. Okay, not ready. And so now that the Archangels have really helped me be able to find my voice and my confidence in being able to speak truth publicly. All right, the healing waters. Let's see what message we get for people that are still healing. I think we're all at different levels of healing, so I don't think anybody ever truly is like fully healed, but you just get to a point in the journey where you just accept that you are the way that you're supposed to be at every stage of the evolution, and that you need to just finally get to a point where you're no longer trying to fix yourself, which again, I think that's why the perfection came up, because I'm sitting here going, okay, what else can I do to change? What else can I fix? How else can I, you know, it's like, you're fine just the way you are. The right people are going to want to be in your life. The right people are going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to work with you. They're going to want to build with you. So trust the process and just wait for the good Lord and the universe to take you on that magical carpet ride. All right, this one says thank you. Gratitude, appreciating what's sustaining you. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've had, is just to appreciate every aspect of this spiritual journey that I've been on, even when it's brought me down to my knees. I mean, anybody who ever has spinal pain, you know what I'm talking about. And to know that there is healing available that's different than modern medicine, I get so excited to be able to teach and share that with you guys. So we have next is a message from my Star Seed Oracle deck. Star Seeds. There's just a need to start blending in that Eastern medicine along with our Western medicine, and you know, that's why I love the Native Americans medicine wheel. It's got 4 colors to it. It's got the black, it's got red, it's got yellow, and it's got white. Represents all the nationalities because we are all one. It is one circle of life. Okay, Starseeds, your message says, fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites, the extremes of life. And I think in my meltdown in the last video, I was saying like, people don't like me when I'm nice, people don't like me when I'm mean, nobody likes me. And it's like, well, no, you can't be in the extremes. And so finding that balance, maintaining being grounded, and just trying to be the best version of yourself is all you can do. Sometimes some people need to be reminded that the mean side's still there, but they don't necessarily have to experience it. They know. That was one of the things that my sister and I had a hard time with, was her meanness was very covert. Mine was very in your face. But I'd be like, she's just as mean too. My mom would be, no, she's not. She's a perfect little angel. I'd be like, no, she's not. Okay, mystical shaman pocket article. So let's go ahead and see what the mystic realm has to tell us today. And I'm sure anybody's got siblings or close cousins that are like siblings or family members that, there's always one that appears to be angelic until there's no supervision, and then the other side comes out. That's why I tell people, I'm like, everybody's got a dark side. You don't ever think, oh, they're not capable of it. Yes, they are. Yes, they most certainly are. But I also don't think that everybody is as dark as people think, so that's why a lot of times I would work with the most disturbed children in the school system. I'd be like, all right, which one is it that you've all said you can't stand, that you can't do anything with, they're incorrigible, they're never going to make, okay, give me that one. We'll love them and I'm going to nurture them, and I'm going to show you what God's grace and mercy can do, and what compassion can do to change the entire trajectory of a human being. Now, didn't work with all of them, but it worked with a lot of them. 30 years of it, it worked for a lot. All right, this one says the Earth Keeper, and it is card 18. And I love this because it's kind of almost shamanic. There we got our image in the background with these like eagle wings. And that's what I've been going through, is my spiritual initiation. What card did I say that was? 13? 18. Okay, 18. 18 says, just as you're involved in co-creating your world, you are also responsible for its well-being. The Earth Keepers are dedicated to the stewardship of the earth and all life. They choose to hold the sacred dream of a planet where all beings live in peace and where the rivers and the air are clean. Remember that everything you do has an impact for 7 generations. You have outgrown your small dream of success and achievement and are ready to dream big, with possibilities beyond your wildest expectations. So take on the mantle of Earthkeeper and reach out to a friend in need whom you may not have been in touch with for some time. Take care of your pets and feed the strays that come by. Clean up your yard, as this is a reflection of your relationship to the earth. Grow the sacred dream and your personal life will flourish. Remember, it's not about me any longer. As you care for your body, you show your care for Mother Earth. So begin with the stewardship of your health. What are you putting in your mouth? Are you feeding on foods and thoughts that are not good for you? Start doing what you know will be good for you today. I know one thing that I did today for when I was at work was, there's a younger man there that was working with me, training me on some things, and he was saying that he's worked there for 5 years, and the only thing he doesn't do is a register. And he made the comment, yeah, I don't do that because I scare people. Well, because he's like over 7 feet tall, and he's like athletic build, so he's not like huge, but he's not thin, like he's just a big guy, and he's super sweet. He's like the gentle giant, like he's just so kind and so sweet. And he was like, yeah, I scare people. And I said, that's okay. I said, people say I'm mean all the time. I just don't believe them. And he kind of smiled and like blushed. All right, we have the Human Spirit Oracle, learning to reconnect. So let's see what message the Great Spirit that resides in all of us wants this collective to know. Yeah, he was kind because I needed some things off of like this really tall shelf that I would have had to got a ladder for, and he's like, you just let me know when you need something. That's what I'm here for. That's my service for you. And I was just like, you're just so cute. Cute like a little button. I don't know where that phrase ever came from, but it's just nice to see some people that are just raised right and courteous and kind. And I'm sure he has his moments. We were joking. I said, I'm sure you got your moments where you throw your fits. And he just kind of smiled. All right, too many hats. So this is card 36. Let's see what the message is about too many hats. Okay, it says, I love me a good hat, and look at you. Wow, you sure look good in a hat or 12. You know, though, this doesn't mean you have to wear all the hats all the time. We know that so much is expected of us, sometimes to be all things to all people. We are given so much responsibility in so many aspects of our lives that we are suffering from horrendous hat hair. Oh, and also, it will lead you to spreading yourself too thin and being burned out. We are asking you today to recognize that you are bogged down with too many hats and to hang some or even one on the hat rack. Run your fingers through your hair and feel the weight lifted. Which is why I know that people are going to be coming in to help me because, I've been stomping my feet and throwing a hissy fit saying, I'm not supposed to be doing this all alone. And the reality is that I'm not doing it all alone. They just are invisible in my 3D realm. And so, little hidden elves that come out of the woodwork when you need them, I think I'm going to start having people coming into my life to be like, all right, I'm good at this, and I'm good at that, and I'm good at this, and then we'll all be able to work together collectively as a cohesive unit to be able to accomplish what the Lord needs us to accomplish together. Let's get a message from the Spirits of Nature Oracle. Let's see what Mother Gaia has to tell us. Because nature is always speaking to us. Whether we listen or not, well, it's up to us. Snake shedding. Okay, so let's see. This is card 36. So let's see what that has to tell us. 36 says, there's a surprising complexity to these simple creatures, both physically and spiritually. In many belief systems and mythologies, the snake is seen as a living representation of the duality of good and evil, a deity, the soul of life, the gateway to the heavens, a healing force, or an embodiment of the underworld, bringing with it great fear and power. Symbolic representations of snakes are also prominent in various cultures throughout the world. One such example is the caducus, I think that's it, an emblem with two snakes intertwined around a pole. They are firmly embedded in our collective consciousness. One of the most fascinating characteristics of snakes is that several times a year they shed their skin in one continuous piece. Their body grows, but their skin does not. And a new layer is generated while the old is discarded like clothes that no longer fit. The process takes a few days, during which time it's important that the snake not be disturbed. Unlike the dragonfly or the butterfly, there is no physical transformation from the shedding, just a bigger snake and roomier skin, while the old skin gets discarded. Here's your message. It's time to shed your skin to allow a bigger self to emerge from that which from that which has up to now encompassed and defined you, or at least who you thought you were. You have been feeling like the old skin no longer fits, yet there is a natural tendency to cling to the false security and the predictability of these familiar habits and ways of being. Though it will require a period of solitude and contemplation, you're sensing an urge to wriggle out of the physical and the emotional entanglements that have been keeping you from loosening these self-created bonds that have served their purpose up to now. This may also be a signal to shed those belongings that no longer fit who you are becoming. After a time, whether weeks or months, the self that is emerging will create new attachments and relationships and will be even more intimately related to the natural world and the spirit that expresses as these multitude of beings. It's an inevitable transition for you, one where you will still be you, yet with a greater sense of purpose and a willingness to continue changing as each new era in your life presents itself. Though some struggle may precede this emergence, your trust in the process grows stronger and deeper and can be totally supported by calling on your spirit guides. All right, let's get a moon magic message from our lunar oracle deck. And I feel like we got the butterfly transformation, now you got the snake shedding skin, and as you've been watching me evolve and the seasons of my life changing, and I think my collective is finally coming out of purgatory to see the light at the end of that tunnel rather than just going, I see a light way over there. It's like, oh, we get to actually now sit in the light and embrace it and bask in it and celebrate this glorious gift of life. All right, we have card number 6, the full moon. Let's see what we get here. Talking about the full moon. The key words are luck, dynamism, and emotions. Such a bright and happy card which foretells great good fortune and dreams coming true. When the full moon shines on you in your life, you can expect a run of good luck, happy events, and positive outcomes. As the moon reaches its peak, so its influence can bring about a sudden rush of activity in situations that have been stagnant. This card indicates that a time of dynamic movement is about to unfold in your life. It could bring about big changes or a sense of settling down. It indicates that magic is in the air and all around you, so now is a great time to cast spells for what you need. The energies of this card can also suggest a time of craziness, when life gets a bit manic before calming down again. If this is at play right now, know that it is for a brief period and will soon pass. Take extra care of yourself and your loved ones until the moon madness passes, as it can be a very emotional time. For the most part though, this is a wonderful card full of positive energies and good vibes, bringing bright blessings your way, so enjoy it while it lasts. Thing that I've learned is that bad times don't last, good times don't last. So when you get a good times coming in, enjoy it while you can, and when the bad times are hitting, you just pray through it, hunker down, and know that it's gonna pass too. So I'm excited to get past this phase of my spiritual evolution to see what the next phase holds. All right, let me get a love card for all the people that are on a twin flame journey like myself, calling in soulmates to learn lessons. I know I had my divine counterpart last night and this morning, basically telepathically letting me know that we've had a lot of miscommunications. He's been talking to a lot of the wrong people, getting a lot of bad advice that's caused a lot of delays. And I myself, being moody biatch sometimes, haven't helped present energetic field that has been open to the 3D conversations that need to happen. But that he understands why I've been so moody and temperamental and PO'd at the choices that he's been making. So when we do come back together in the 3D, then it's going to be a much better experience for both of us. And we will have happily ever after, so he says. We'll see. Okay. The first card that popped out, I got two of them. It says trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. See how I'm just like, He says we'll have happily ever after, but can I trust him? We'll see. And this one says, free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. And here's the unicorn. Because I have felt like my obligations to my family and to my career and to the business, like all of these things kept me like weighed down. And like I said, now I have freedom. And I no longer am just flowing with fate, but I'm actually consciously co-creating my destiny. That's a great feeling. All right, let's get a couple ancestor messages, and then we'll find out what Archangel wants to say to close out this readings. All right, ancestors, if you can please give us 3 cards to let me know what I should be relaying to the collective. There's one. Let's go 2 more messages we need to know for our highest and greatest good at this time. 2 and number 3. Let's see what we got. The first one that we got was the the Queen of Clubs, which is Wands. It says creativity and intelligence, a fiery spirit that is focused and positive, uplifting, passion, influence, powerful courage, individuality, and unwavering determination. So yes, they are acknowledging that I am not giving up. My fiery spirit cannot be squashed or put out or dampened by any outside force unless I allow it. And to maintain my own individuality. Next came out was the 9 of Swords, which is the 9 of Spades, saying that they're acknowledging that I'm coming out of depression and nightmares and mental anguish, no longer being plagued by guilt or despair or stress. They've helped alleviate my fears and my worries, that most of them were unfounded. If you were to be anchored into the daily energies, that self-doubt is no longer going to be an issue and no longer feeling overwhelmed. And the last one to pop out was the 5 of Spades, which are swords, and this one represents tension, competition, a hollow win, a need for boundaries, loss and hardship, obstacles and challenges, treachery, difficult situations, disagreements, and negative attitude. So again, I think this is what is ending in order for me to have these beautiful new beginnings. So the ancestors are just acknowledging that yes, we have experienced these things. Nobody can gaslight us and tell us that things haven't been hard, because people will be like, you don't even look like you've been through anything, or like, because that takes work. It takes a lot of work to be able to process pain, alchemize it, transmute it, send it packing, and today is a brand new day. So I'm not going to let people gaslight me into saying, oh, you've never had it bad. Yeah, listen to my story. All right, and then we have our final message is from the Archangel Raphael Healing Deck Oracle. And let's see what he wants to tell us about our healing journey at this time. I think every person on the soul family that is coming in to work with me, I think they have similar hardships and overcome and been hero's journey stories as myself. So that's why it will be like a Knights of the Round Table kind of situation where we all have refined ourselves, and that it's not going to be like I have to help them heal and they have to help me heal, that we've all done that inner work and that healing process on our own, in our own ways, in our own kingdoms, and then we're all coming together as spiritual royalty to be able to then illuminate and amplify each other's gifts, because we're all gifted in different ways, and then as a collective little unit there, we can then create the safe space where people then can come and learn and grow and develop and heal within the container that we create together. That's so exciting. All right, we've got listen to your intuitive feelings. Dear higher self, thank you for speaking loudly and clearly in peaceful ways that I easily understand. Archangel Raphael, thank you for guiding me to listen to my inner wisdom. And look at this synchronicity, we got another unicorn. I've always said that I'm not like the average woman. I am a dying breed, unfortunately, and so I want to try to gather all the other mystical forest creatures together with me, and so that way we can create a space for others to be able to gather and celebrate this gift of life and learn from each other. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully you found some inspiration, some words of wisdom, some entertainments through this transmission and this episode, this beautiful day.